Welcome to the Special Population Sessions. My name is Kate Burkowski, an ORISE Fellow with the FDA's Office of Medical Policy. Today I'll be speaking briefly about CureID and the extension into the pregnancy field. One of the goals of my ORISE Fellowship has been to help create a space to expand CureID to focus on infectious diseases during pregnancy. Millie Dougal and I, along with input from the CDRC Special Populations Coordinating Committee, created an extension of the current CureID case report form to capture additional information on the efficacy of drugs used with pregnant patients. So this case report form is currently being integrated into CureID by NIH NCATS and is set to be live soon. Within special populations, we had decided to focus on pregnancy, firstly because pregnant people are a population with significant unmet medical needs since they are seldom studied in pre-marketing trials. Because of the lack of trials, many drugs used in pregnancy are borrowed from non-pregnant populations. The safety of drugs in pregnancy is currently addressed in several pharmacovigilance programs, but the efficacy of drugs in pregnancy is often poorly characterized. Second, CureID provides an opportunity to examine the efficacy of drugs that have been repurposed for pregnant people. This information is particularly important for conditions unique to pregnancy and conditions that may affect the fetus. CureID has three main avenues of gathering information on drug repurposing. Clinicians can input their cases directly. Information from published case reports can be submitted, and electronic health records or EHR data can be documented. In addition to case entry, CureID offers a discussion forum to encourage clinicians to add questions to discuss their novel cases. There are over 300 diseases in the CureID platform currently, which makes it a difficult task to decide which diseases to focus on first. So how do we decide, especially in pregnancy where most diseases do not have an FDA-approved treatment? So our approach has started with a general published literature search, which included diseases from a list that one of our physicians created. And recently, a ranking document was proposed to help our team further decide which diseases to focus on as to be more quantifiable and less subjective. Looking through the literature, there are similar documents used for emerging infectious diseases and other conditions, but there is nothing existing currently that we are aware of that we could adopt for use. By developing a document that can help prioritize diseases in pregnancy, we hope to better understand the diseases of interest and identify those conditions where efficacy data of repurposed drugs is most needed. There are many challenges when attempting to prioritize diseases in pregnancy for drug repurposing. So these include trying to avoid reinventing the wheel if possible. Diseases such as preeclampsia, preterm labor, or hyperemesis gravidarum have less of a starting point for repurposing as they don't occur in non-pregnant people. Drug repurposing is also more complex in pregnancy due to physiological changes to the body and its impact on pharmacokinetics. And there's a lack of data-driven therapies for pregnancy-related conditions, as well as difficulty in obtaining controlled and quality data. So these next slides showcase our first draft of a prioritizing document. All the answers are yes or no, with yes answers receiving a score of 1 and no or unknown answers receiving a score of 0. The larger the score, the more quantifiable interest we potentially have in the disease in question. So as I go through the slides, feel free to pause to read all of the questions. The first section is a general disease and drug information, including if there is any known repurposing for the disease. The second section discusses details of the disease in pregnancy, including transmission to the fetus. We also believe that communities related to the disease are extremely important to assess. The communities we collaborate with are essential to know more about the disease and how much support there is throughout the medical community. They're also essential to connect us with medical experts in the field who can further inform us about repurposing and research that has been done. So we wanted to introduce this document to receive feedback from those attending the session. So in specific, are there any additional data points that should be included, or do you find anything irrelevant? And Millie Dougal and I were talking about possibly even changing the perspective of perhaps maybe focusing on the drug rather than the disease. Um, we could look at the medications and what they're approved and repurposed for, and then look at the corresponding diseases. Um, so we would like to know if maybe there's potential there, or the way that we are looking at it now, is that the best way to prioritize these diseases. These are references. And that is the end of this presentation. Thank you so much for your time and attention.